Hello, everyone. Welcome to Boss Rush After Dark, the alternative podcast show for the Boss Rush Network. I am LeRon Dawkins, and we got a crew tonight. We always have a crew tonight, but we have a crew tonight. So get ready and buckle up. Everyone, say hello to Stephanie Klimov, our wonderful lady boss of the Boss Rush writing team. What's up?
Hello. I'm here to enjoy another fantastic conversation about adult things.
We should just start codenaming the show Shenanigans. We should.
Yes.
The man, the myth, the legend, Corey Derrick is back with us tonight as well. What's up, buddy?
Speaking of adult things, you know what I can do as an adult? I can go to Aldi and buy 2 boxes of white cheddar Cheez-Its and not feel bad about myself. And then I'll eat them and then I'll feel bad about myself because...
That's not the adult thing that I was thinking you were going to talk
it's
about.
Like,
but
it's
sure,
like,
yeah.
It's like when you're 12 and you're like, when I grow up, I'm going to eat ice cream and cookies for dinner. And then you do, and then you just feel like crap. And you're like, oh, this is why you shouldn't do that. I'm way past that age, but, 2 boxes of white cheddar Cheez-Its is okay.
Oh, that sounds delightful.
Yeah, it does, actually. Take it from me, the junk food fanatic here. And rounding out for our fourth chair tonight is a man that really doesn't need no introduction if you check out anything for Boss Rush's Nintendo Power Block. What's up, Dan Murphy? How you doing tonight, man?
Good. It's a true story that LeRon saw how much Nintendo I play and wouldn't let me on the adult show, so we had to override him.
We had to let the your nickname the Indie Insider, even though I would say you're more of an RPG insider, but
Hey, Ed just throws out names and he doesn't really throw them at the wall. They just get stuck the first time. So yeah, here we are. I would say you're more of the Indie Insider, Stephanie.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's true. I think that's true. So how's everybody doing so far? How's everybody's it's Wednesday night. How's everybody's hump day been?
I can't believe it's only Wednesday. That's all I have to say. This week has been so long.
Yeah, it feels like it's been a long week.
I mean,
yeah, it's like that meme that it's like it's been the longest week already, and it's only 10 a.m. on Monday.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus,
for me, I started a new job, so I'm sitting in all this chaos.
No way! Congrats!
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's I've been adjusting to working from home. So we started back work on the 3rd, and I haven't been back to work since I've been working from home. And tomorrow's going to be my first day back in the office. And I gotta tell you, man, working from home sucks. I don't like working from home.
It does.
It's so polarizing. Like, there's no middle ground with working from home. People either love it or they hate it, and I'm in the camp that hates it. I just get nothing done, nothing whatsoever.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I mean, I can see how either people that don't have kids or single people could work from home and be fine, but when you got 2 kids that are just loud as fuck, man, they're just running around here banging on shit, and you're trying to have this really important meeting with someone, and it's just gotta mute yourself, and then when you go to talk, it's all they can hear is rattles and scooters and all this other loud, noisy shit in the background. It's God, just shut up. I just want to get through this meeting. I gotta throw on this button-up shirt for an hour and then take it off because I don't want to sit in my house in a nice clothes. I just want to be lounging around in some shorts or whatever. It's God, just...
Well, do you do the half and half where you wear a nice top but your bottom half is pajama pants?
I haven't worn pants since Christmas. So I mean, yeah.
No.
Yeah,
but I get it. Today. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna kind of go off that topic and say, so I do have this kind of routine when I work from home where it's I get up and I actually put on clothes, full clothes. And I do a lap around the block, just do a quick walk, and it kind of feels like a commute. And then when I'm done working, I can change back into my stuff, and I feel like I have that home and work separation. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a mind game. So I gotta try to make it in a certain way, like to get through that
That's
day.
a good idea.
It sounds like a lot of work. I don't know. Walking.
Yeah.
This is why Dan is, fit and I'm fat. So let's be fair. Whatever.
Wait. You stopped going to the gym?
No, I didn't. I'm just saying he makes better
Okay.
life decisions than I do. Because, well, here's the thing. I haven't gone to the gym in like a week because my wife's entire family came down with COVID, and we came in contact with them, and we all got sick, but we all tested negative for COVID, but we still all had symptoms, so we just like avoided everyone. So
Yeah. Speaking of which, I went and took a lab test today for COVID. So and the only reason why I took it is just to get prepped for my booster shot, which I'm getting soon, because I don't want to be one of those people that it's wild. Like I've gone these last 2 years, haven't really been sick, so I doubt I've caught COVID. I took one antibody test before I got the vaccine, and didn't have it wasn't positive for antibodies for COVID. So I feel like I've coasted along these last 2 years without getting it. Or I may have already had it and been asymptomatic. So I was like, you know what? I'm about to get the booster. The fucking Moderna vaccine just whooped my ass the second round, and so I'm like, it'll be my luck that I'll go and get the booster. Don't know I'm sick with COVID, and then it really get fucked up.
yeah,
The booster is brutal.
Yeah,
It was like 10 times worse than the second shot. In my opinion.
Don't tell me that. Don't
See,
tell me that.
Wait, you want me to tell you it's better, and then you?
yeah, dude.
No, you don't. No, you don't have to tell me it's better, but you sure as hell didn't have to be absolutely truthful about it.
It's
Jeez,
definitely. I definitely felt worse after the booster. It wasn't like, but after the first, I got Moderna, and after that second shot, a lot of people got really sick, and I started to feel sick, but then I went to bed and kind of slept through it, I think. And then so I never really felt that. I was kind of tired the next morning and had a headache or whatever, but I never really felt the effects because I slept through it. And then I got the booster and I was like, oh man, this sucks. This is what people were talking about 6 months ago. This really sucks.
Well,
sorry, LeRon.
LeRon, just think about it this way. Everybody experiences it differently. I was all Moderna. I got my ass kicked the first, the actual first sets of shots. My booster wasn't that bad. I was probably a little bit tired, and that was it. So everybody's different.
I've heard with women, the first shot is bad, and the second shot not too bad. And then with men, the first shot's okay, and the second shot just whoops your ass, because that second shot, I was down, I took it I had it on a Friday morning. Going into Friday afternoon, Friday evening, I was starting to feel a little bad. I was starting to feel it, and Saturday morning, I woke up and I had a raging fever, full on body aches. It was basically the worst flu I'd ever had, minus the coughing and sneezing and all that stuff, and the runny nose and stuff like that. But the worst part about this, because I basically bounced back by Sunday afternoon. The worst part about it though was I had a 6-day migraine.
Ooh.
Oh.
And this is with me doing the precautions, drinking a ton of water before I got the shot, and staying hydrated, throughout there. I had a 6-day migraine, and I'm one of those people, when I have a headache, it grinds me to a halt. I can't function with a headache, which is why I'm really dreading this. My boyfriend got the booster, and I was with him. That was the day we sat on his couch and played nothing but Nintendo. Because he was basically in bad shape. Well, he wasn't in bad shape, but I called him the Saturday morning after, because he had the shot on Friday. I called him the Saturday morning to see how he was doing. He's like, yeah, I'm not feeling too good. So I went over to his place, and I was there all day. With him. We were playing a whole bunch of Mario games on Switch and stuff, and that was our day. And I just looked after him. So
did you hear that, guys? LeRon played Nintendo.
So hopefully, when I get my booster, he'll reciprocate.
The one consistent thing I've heard about the booster side effects in my personal experience is that it's not long lasting effects, it's like 24 hours and you're done. Nobody gets a headache longer than 24 hours. Like when I got that second shot, I was legitimately weak for like, I'd say 10 days. I would go to the gym and I wouldn't be able to do anything like up to 100% of what I would do. I'd be at like 60% on the bike, 50% on the treadmill. Like lifting was like 40%. So I was just so weak, even 10 days later. But like with the booster, it was just like, here you go, here's your headache, here's your flu, it's gone. And that's it. And I was like 100% normal 48 hours later.
Yeah, I'm dreading it. I am.
You'll be okay, LeRon.
I'm one of those people when I get sick, like, you know, like the man flu is a real thing. I get it, because that's how I am.
I believe in you, LeRon. You'll be okay.
I am so pitiful when I get sick.
Yeah, me too.
God, COVID sucks.
COVID does suck, and I'm pissed. I'm pissed that we're about to be in the third year of this shit. I'm pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Everybody just stay home for like 2 weeks. Just stop going places.
That's all you had to fucking do. That's all you had to fucking do in the beginning.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Everybody wants to get on a goddamn plane. Everybody wants to be in the fucking shopping mall. Everybody wants to go to fucking clubs and shit and restaurants and shit. And you know, it's like,
I would like to take a vacation with my wife for the first time in 3 years this year. Okay, please, somebody just stay home.
Because there are people out there, regardless of political or whatever beliefs, that literally they like to antagonize. They want to do the opposite of what you're supposed to do just to be a dick. Like there are people that are like, oh yeah, we should be wearing masks. Well, I'm going to not wear a mask just so I can piss you off. Like those are the people that they really need to somehow go away.
Well, I feel like we're kind of so. I feel like there's been two teams in every stretch of COVID, right? Like at the beginning, there were the people who thought COVID was a serious thing, and then the other people who thought that COVID was just a flu. Like one side was clearly right and one side was clearly wrong. Then, you know, the next step, we went into two teams: the people who are vaccinated and the people who aren't just refuse vaccinations. And, you know, those teams kind of stayed the same. And then it's like, now we're in this weird sense where like most people are vaccinated, but we have these two teams where people are vaccinated and being extra cautious. And the media is about 90% heavily reporting that side and boasting that strategy versus the 10% who are vaccinated and just want to get on with their fucking lives. Yeah. And like, we just can't get past it because literally, I'm going to go segue into my topic of I just hate the media and COVID right now. So, you know, I'm going to rant a little bit. Feel free to just like fill in the blanks for me if you want. But, you know, it's like Omicron is basically we're working into super immunity, right? Yeah. Herd immunity didn't work. And the thing was, we were kind of told different things the whole entire way of COVID. It was like you guys just said, everybody stays at home for 2 weeks and it's going to go away. That's just not true. You know, this virus is going to stay. Nobody ever said anything about viruses mutating to the public, right? So, vaccination.
Hold on. Before you start that, I will say this, like, because I've said it before, like anyone with like basic 8th grade biology understanding, you know, education knows that viruses mutate. All viruses mutate. That's why fucking HIV hasn't been eradicated yet. That's why, you know, that's
but there's like
legit.
96% of the people who don't know that and like got surprised when Delta came out and then yelled at the people who didn't get vaccinated. But that's not their fault. It's a virus. It's going to mutate.
I mean, think about it this way. I mean, everyone that has a driving license took a driving class to get that license. But do you think the majority of people actually know how to drive? Like, that's kind of the way I see it.
Right. Exactly. And I don't know. We're just kind of getting to this point where like everything is so overtly negative, right? And now Omicron, like I said, it's super immunity. Like if you catch Omicron, this, again, you have to really dig for this. You have to if you get it, you're pretty much immune to the other strands and probably future variants. But we don't see that anywhere. If you type in COVID right now, it's all sensationalized, right? So
Yeah,
like we're seeing
that is
headlines. Yeah, we're just seeing headlines about the numbers. And that's what kind of drives me crazy. It's you see words like it's surging, unprecedented numbers, blah blah blah. But we don't have like the appropriate stats for it either, right? Because everybody's so different.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, COVID is COVID when you look at the stats. And as far as we know, Omicron is anywhere from allergies to a flu. And that's even to people who aren't vaccinated, which is a good thing, right? So that means we're trending in the right direction, but the media is only produces negative content with 100% sincerity, whereas only positive content comes out with like 10% sincerity. Yeah. And we're in a day and age where we're raising kids in fear, right? Like my friend has a 7-year-old and an 8-year-old, and they're afraid that their friends are going to kill them just by hanging out with them. And it's really, really sad because we don't have actual data. You know what I mean? So like we can't just count the numbers at this point anymore. We need some sort of transparency. And I don't know if like you guys are I actually wrote down these football stats because so if we just kind of had some sort of better data, like, you know, my mom works in a hospital. She CAT scanned a person who came in from a car accident with broken leg. They tested him for COVID. He had no symptoms. He was positive. And he's like, what the hell? I came in for a broken leg. I didn't realize I had COVID. But he's now considered COVID positive. Like, there needs to be some sort of like COVID with no symptoms. COVID hospitalized, this and that. So we know like what's actually out there right now and what to protect ourselves from, because everybody's so different. Right? Like there's people that have, you know, autoimmune diseases. Like there's people at high risk that deserve to know the actual numbers and deserve to know that they're safe going to a grocery store, because 98% of the people who have COVID right now are not even in bad shape. So football fans, I'm going to throw this one out here. Dan Marino in his last season had 12 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, 2,448 yards. Brett Favre, his last season, had 11 touchdowns, 19 interceptions, 2,509 yards. Ben Roethlisberger, this was his last season. He was awful. He had 22 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and almost 4,000 yards.
Wait, what?
You take a look at those numbers, and you think Ben Roethlisberger had the best season out of their final seasons.
Yeah.
But we start looking at more in-depth stats. Accuracy, balls thrown in different directions, pressured, and they take it all and they put it into one stat called QB rating. Dan Marino's QB rating was 67.4. Brett Favre's was 69.9. Both not good, but they're significantly better than Ben Roethlisberger's 35.9. That means Ben Roethlisberger, even with those stats, the first three stats that we said blow the other two out of the water. But the last stat says he was half the quarterback that the other two guys were, because now we have in-depth stats and we understand what we're watching and seeing better. So basically, my rant is I want accountability. Like, I just want the media to come back and say, hey, we were wrong about telling you that the vaccine is going to protect you 100%. We were wrong about telling you that the vaccine wasn't going to, you know, spread if you had it. We were wrong about these things, but this is how we're changing it. There's just moving goalposts left and right, and we're 2 years into this. Enough is enough. So there we go. There's my rant.
Agreed. Yeah.
And I hate how they use trigger words. Like, I constantly hear the word crisis, like crisis. Right. I'm like, and I have like a, you know, similar like kind of pet peeve with that, but mine's more from this standpoint. Like, I'm a pharmacist. I am like really into the throes of like COVID and medical literature, and most lay people don't understand the process of peer reviewing articles. I mean, this virus was new and there's constantly changing data, and like when I see media, I don't see data, I see a narrative, and it bothers me because it drives some people to the point of almost insanity. I have a friend, bless this friend, like, but just based off of just purely fueled by news and not real stats, like, just she like I'm not gonna go into, sorry, I'm not gonna turn this like this, but it's just, yes, I'm totally, see, I'm like getting so frustrated I can't even like finish the sentence.
Yeah, right. I mean, it just kind of feels sensationalized right now, right? And it's what breeds clicks. Like, hysteria breeds hysteria, right? If we were a news website, we would just write about COVID to get those clicks because everybody's just getting the clicks for the ads. The more ads, you make money, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's pretty simple. So sensationalizing everything and getting the clicks, we know why it's happening, but like, can it stop? Can it stop, please? And it, I think the other thing that drives me crazy too is like all the contradicting COVID rules everywhere you go. The reason I wanted to talk about this subject is because I went into a gas station and I wanted to throw away the stuff I had in my hands, but there was just a sign over the garbage can that said, the garbage can cannot be used because of COVID. What the fuck does that mean?
What?
Everything. It's just like everybody's using it as an excuse. And it's like, I travel for work. I go state to state and there's different rules in every different state. And it's like, what are we doing? Like, why am I wearing my mask on an airplane for 80% of the time because I can drink water and eat snacks? Am I any safer that 20% I don't have my mask on? What are we doing?
Yeah, the mask thing is a bit concerning. Like, I see two sides of the same coin. So one side, at least in the beginning, is because the virus was so novel and just working in the field, the CDC and the WHO and all that stuff, they have to work with what they have. So at one point with X amount of data, we recommend mask wearing. And then as we get more information, you're like, oh, well, we realize maybe mask wearing is only X. So like, on one hand, I understand when the CDC or someone like has to adjust their recommendations and people are always blasting the CDC, not that they're perfect, but I'm like, they're not flip-flopping because they're politicians and supposedly, right? If we're talking about real scientists, not the people who have political connections, right? Like, I'm excluding that from the conversation. We have to, as scientists, need to make adjustments based on the data that's available to us. But to Dan's point, like, I'll go into one store where like you're not allowed in there unless you have a mask. But then like in a situation literally down the street, people are walking around like with no mask or have a chin hammock, or like in a place where they require to have masks, but everyone has like this. I'm like, listen, if you're not going to wear your mask the right way, I might like, don't make like, I don't get it. Every place has a different rule. And I'm like, if everybody has different rules, I just feel like it defeats the ultimate purpose. We need to be consistent. We either all need to get on board with the mask, for example, or not. Like, it just doesn't, it's not like the virus is going to be like, okay, well, here I'm not going to be infecting people, but over there, yeah, I think I will. It's like, no, it doesn't work like that.
Honestly, that's what I want. I want consistency. Yeah. But
right.
I don't know. It's just like I'm not gonna go there, but it's just like how like you hear like the wrong fucking politician or public figure say one fucking thing, and all of a sudden everybody's going fucking nuts, and they're just all willy-nilly about it. Like right now in Virginia, like the incoming governor is already at odds with schools because he's like no mask mandates for schools and stuff like that, and like a lot of school administrations are like, the fuck, we're not.
Right. And you kind of get at that point too, like, it's a bipartisan topic, right? It's a global pandemic that everybody is dealing with. I have no idea how it got so politicized. Like, you look at DeSantis down in Florida and he's like, mask, what is a mask? Get out of my state with your fucking masks. And then like, you go to DC and you literally get like put in a guillotine if you don't have a mask on. You know what I mean? It's like, it is insane how it's driving people mad.
It's fucking public health. Like, there should be fucking common sense behind public health, You know,
Yeah, or
simple
consideration.
thing. I don't have kids, but I worry about my friends' kids when they go to a school and come to find out that there's a random ass kid of an anti-vaxxer that won't get the fucking measles vaccine and shit like that. Like no, like even though these kids have measles, you are putting them in a very harmful danger.
Yeah, my daughter's preschool, one of the kids tested positive for COVID, and they shut the school down for the week. Like
The whole school.
yeah, and it was like, that's, and it
Your
just
daughter's
sucks.
your daughter's what, 3?
Yeah, it sucks because none of the kids are old enough to be vaccinated, you know, and like I worry about it every day that she goes. You know, I mean, the teachers wear masks and stuff, but like they're 3 and 4-year-olds. They don't want to wear masks. They don't have to.
Yeah, they don't
right?
want to wear. They don't want to wear masks. They don't have the attention span to keep a mask on.
And
all
they
the
don't.
fucking time.
They don't
They hardly
even,
want to keep their pants on.
yeah,
Right?
Oh, God. Don't get me started with that. But like they don't understand that wearing the mask is important, right? Like my daughter just wants to wear it. Like she'll wear it for like 3 minutes because mommy and daddy are wearing the mask, and then she'll take it off because it's uncomfortable, right? Like she doesn't understand that it's dangerous, and we haven't been anywhere for like I don't know how long because of the kids, right? Like it's just dangerous to go out with them.
Yeah, and you know what the crazy part is, like kids honestly are the super spreaders for the disease. Yeah, it's crazy that Delta and Omicron are actually hurting kids now, where previous strains weren't. Like they were bringing it back, and the older generations were getting hit by it. But I mean, it's crazy that like people are always. Every time I see something on TV, like like anything gay content related, first thing, but what about the children? Well, why aren't you worried about the children with this shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pick and choose.
But what about the children? When they're actually talking about the ramifications of our national history, as far as like slavery and other race relationships, they want. But what about our children? But they want. But what about our children when it comes to fucking public health and safety? You got. But what about our children when it comes to gun safety? I don't ever hear that shit.
The one thing I will say that's frustrating to me as a parent, and I don't have it's not totally strong feelings, but like before Omicron really blew up and everyone's just back to wearing masks regardless of vaccination status, we were at that stage where if you were vaccinated, completely vaccinated, masks were pretty much optional. Which at that time, again, with the data available as to the time, that was a reasonable thing. I was getting excited when the FDA allowed vaccinations for 5 and up because my son is 6 and he attends a school that are for 5 and up. It's elementary school. So I thought by the time he got vaccinated, and the kids get he would at least have the option to not wear a mask because, if he doesn't have to, I would great. I'd be happy for him to not have to. He can facial recognition, mental development, again, as long as it's safe and he's vaccinated. But as soon as he got vaccinated, I realized that the school still mandated everyone to wear masks. Again, I'm not poo-pooing on masks still. I guess we'll do whatever we need to do. But I'll admit I was a bit disappointed because for adults, we were allowed to have the option to not have to wear masks if we're vaccinated. How come the kids were not provided that option? But now that conversation's irrelevant because of Omicron, but I was sad.
But of course, like we were just saying, it's just contradicting COVID rules everywhere you go. None of it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to step in and poo-poo on masks for you.
Yay.
So
Thanks.
just looking at the data, because I'm just a numbers junkie. I'm trying to find an angle. I'm a gambler. I love gambling. I need to always have an angle on something. So I want to figure out. I've looked into this. I want to figure out the only thing that stays consistent is that areas that are highly vaccinated have less chance of death and less spreading, right? I mean, that's the only thing that stays consistent. But it's we've said, different states are letting masks go at certain times and this and that. You go into a restaurant, you take your mask off. What's the difference? It doesn't make any sense.
True.
So these areas that have had mask mandates and stricter rules, people are catching COVID at the same rates as some other state, like even Florida, who doesn't even know COVID exists. even though they're spitting in each other's faces, right? So it's like there's no cohesive data showing that wearing these masks in these areas are doing the things, or putting these plexiglasses at CVS so you can't hear the people on the other side. It really just feels like a false sense of security at this point. Maybe it helps a little bit, but it's not stopping the spread the way we think it is, at least by the way data shows.
Yeah,
so,
it definitely feels like kind of in the 40s and 50s when they were like, hey, get under your desk because this nuclear bomb's dropping on the school, like that's, I mean, I still wear a mask like when I go into places and stuff because like, I don't know, I want to be safe, and like if that's, gonna help, especially with the kids and stuff, I will. But like, look, when I was working at the car dealership, I worked there through the entire run of that first wave of COVID, right? And nobody wore a mask and nobody got vaccinated. And like, yeah, it was scary and it kind of sucked, but like I didn't get COVID the entire time, but also 9 employees died of COVID. So like, I don't know, man. I just don't know what to believe anymore. I feel like some people, like Dan, like you said, we need stats, and like the people that died were older, like higher up in age, really, or they had some sort of pre-existing illness, and like that,
obese.
Yeah, and it's just like, well, I wish we had more information to really deal with this properly, and like, I'm going to do what I can to be safe because of my wife and kids, right? And like, I'm going to work from home to stay away from people from the office, right? But like, I just don't understand this at all. Cause like you said, there's so many different people saying so many different things. And it's like, I just don't know, man. I got vaccinated. I got boosted. I'm wearing a mask to the gas station if I need to get gas, like, or something inside. Like, I don't know what else to do.
You're right, Corey, and I agree with Dan. Like numbers don't lie, and numbers are a universal language, so to speak. And I feel like the media, for example, needs to be more transparent and provide the full range of numbers, not just picking and choosing. Because speaking of consistency, I'll give you I know 2 different people. One is so paranoid, and I'm not saying that to mock the person. I'm just saying based on maybe the lack of true information. That person wants us to take a rapid test every time we go to that person's house, every time, even though we're all vaccinated, all boosted, wearing masks, and propping the windows open when it's 8 degrees outside, and have the fan on, all of that. And I'm like, and I feel like I'm not allowed to say anything because then I'm anti-science, even though I'm actually trying to bring the science in and be like, that's a bit excessive. But then at the other hand, I also know a person whose family member had cancer during the 2020 COVID, and none of the they're all anti-vaxxers. None of them wanted to get vaccinated while the family member was going through chemo, and just luckily no one got COVID and that family member's doing fine. But that kind of reinforced we don't need to get vaccinated. Nothing bad happened. So like, can we please? Insanity needs to stop.
We just went through that over Christmas. Like my cousin is, going through chemo right now, and like her sister is not talking to anybody in the family because she's an anti-vaxxer, but she wasn't allowed to come to Christmas, right? Like, I mean, it just, you're not allowed to come to Christmas because she's literally you being COVID positive and your son being COVID positive, and you guys aren't vaccinated. You're not allowed to come to Christmas. Sorry. Like, your you could literally kill your sister by sitting next to her. Like, that's just like, no, right? Like,
right. Yeah. We're just having a hard time finding a middle ground with this, right? Like the 2 people that Stephanie gave examples of, they are way more common than we think. You know what I mean? And it's like, why can't we just, I'm a person who travels for work. Even through 2020, I was kind of forced into it, and it didn't make me feel good about it. But I did all the things that I could just to protect myself and protect others, because there are other people out there that are concerned about it. But if you're doing your part, you get you get vaccinated, you know, you're just being a little more cautious. You wash your hands, do that thing. Like, everybody should be okay. You know what I mean? Like, that's where we should just leave it at. Like, COVID's here to stay. We just have to learn how to live with it. We can't crack our windows open when it's 8 degrees out and have people take 3 negative tests to see you. Like, we have to just move on with our lives and just make sure that we are a little bit more cautious, but like, not too crazy, right? Just do your part. That's it.
Common sense knowledge, but I'm sure we've all seen it. There are a vast number of people that are gross that don't even know how to cover their mouth when they sneeze, and that's before COVID. So
Right.
it's like,
right. I mean, like, we have family members that are too scared of COVID to come to our wedding in June. You know what I mean? And it's like very, very close family to Ariel, and it's like, you know, she's very upset about it, and what are we gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, they're requesting like everybody wear masks at the wedding, and everybody has tests and boosters, and we're like, I'm sorry, but no, this is not how our wedding is gonna be, and that's in June. You know what I mean? We don't know where this is gonna be in June.
Right. Yeah, like I'm about to travel next week for work, and like we just had a bunch of people kind of like switch to being like from in person to like a virtual person. And not to talk about too much what I do at work, because I don't really know how much I'm allowed to talk about or not talk about really, but like there's travel involved with my job now, and it's like we're going to San Jose, and we're all taking tests on Monday. We're all like going to the airport. We all need our our vaccination cards and stuff. And it's like this big, huge ordeal to go to California for 4 days. And then like when we come home, like we're supposed to work from home the next week and all this other stuff. And it's just like, man, this is just insane. This is just crazy. You know, I don't know. I have differing opinions on COVID, and it's just, man. And I know people are probably going to yell at us for saying all kinds of weird stuff on this, that like, oh, you should all be vaccinated, and you should all be like plugging your mouths full of cotton balls. I don't know.
Well, first of all, I am fully vaccinated. I am doing my due diligence to get my booster and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I wear a mask in public. I wash my hands and do all the other shit. I am not so crazy about other people, how they conduct themselves around me, because I know I have the barrier of the vaccine and I'm doing what I'm doing. So, you know, like I don't push on people whether or not they have the mask or whatnot. Mm-hmm. But, you know, like, depending on if they're being all willy-nilly about shit, like, you know, like, hey, like, your ass just got back from Florida. You might want to chill for a few minutes before we hang out, you know?
Yeah.
Shit like that, you know? You know.
I'm more concerned about my kids. You know, like, I don't want them to get sick. And, like, I really don't know, or I've never even really looked up how COVID affects kids, really. I know in the beginning it was like, well, kids don't seem to get it, or if they do get it, it's, like, mild symptoms or whatever. But, like, I don't know. I'm more concerned about bringing it home to them, which I know it doesn't really transfer like that, apparently, but...
Well, you know, and this might be to be continued, another topic for another day, but, you know, the part that scares me the most about COVID is the long hauler stuff. Mm-hmm. The disease itself, for most healthy individuals, isn't the problem. I think the stats is about 1/3 will have long haul symptoms that really suck. Yeah. And that's still kind of really early to know, will they be permanent, lifelong? Will it get worse? Will it get better? It's other considerations to have.
Now long COVID scares me.
Mm-hmm. That's what my wife is afraid of too, because she has really terrible asthma, right? And like, I don't know, when her family got it, she was like scared to death to go over there, because like, even though she's vaccinated, like, she's afraid of that long hauler stuff, you know. Crazy stuff out there.
I guess the only last thing I want to say, which is kind of a non sequitur to what we've been talking about, but, you know, there's a lot of places that are starting to do like vaccine mandates and mask mandates at restaurants and stuff like this, just be nice to the friggin' kid that's at the host desk. Like,
Yeah.
let's be human. Like, realize that the employees are just the ones enforcing it, not the one that created it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if they care about it or not. Just be nice to the kids that are working in these places. It's not their fault.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Good point. I mean, it doesn't matter what your beliefs is. It's just that when you're at an establishment and you're greeted by that first person, that's not the person that you should be angry at, for sure.
Right. Yeah. If someone tells you to pull up your mask, just do it. They don't get paid enough to be yelled at for it. They don't get paid enough to enforce it. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel bad for employees these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, be nice to other people, please. And respect other people.
Bottom line.
Just, don't be a dick.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, that statement can go to thousands of other topics we'll probably cover on the show.
I know.
Well, thanks, Dan. That was very therapeutic.
Yeah, I guess we just needed to all kind of talk through that one, huh?
Yeah.
No. Because unfortunately, that stuff is not going to really change anytime soon. We can do our best to be good role models, which hopefully, if you're listening, you took something away from this.
Be a good role model, everybody.
Just a big fuck you to the media. Stop sensationalizing everything. Let's not take advantage of people's fear anymore. Is that so much to ask?
Is that too much, everybody?
Apparently it is.
So, do we have a hard segue or a soft segue into something else?
We're gonna do a hard segue.
LeRon loves a good hard segue.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yeah, but I mean, seriously, like I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of COVID. Jeez.
I'm ready for it to be over.
Yeah.
All right, so Dan and I are on the East. Well, Dan, Stephanie, and I are on the East Coast, and we're hunkering down for this insane weather that we're getting ready to get. You're in the Midwest. You're in the Midwest, dude.
It's all the same.
You always get this.
No, we're
bullshit.
not. No, it ain't.
It's
How
the
much
same.
ocean can you see? How long does it take you to drive to the ocean?
I don't know. I don't go to the ocean.
Yeah,
I don't like the ocean.
Exactly, because you're not on the coast.
Yeah.
That's how this works.
So we're hunkering down for this snowstorm that's coming up. By the time you hear this, the snow would have already come and went, unless you're one of our patrons. So I want to ask, tell me about your favorite snow day.
Boy, growing up in Mass, Stephanie and I are like, where do we begin?
Right? Like, I remember there was a big. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say I was an Army brat, so like I remember my snow days because like you didn't always see them depending on where the family was living at. Yeah, but no. When do you guys go first?
Well, Dan, I'm sure you remember. I could never remember the year, but there was like a huge nor'easter in the 90s, early 90s. I can't remember.
I think I was going to bring up the same one.
Yeah.
God, it must have been like, what, 6 or 7 years old?
Yeah. It was, that's a very famous one. I just can't pinpoint the exact year, but it's that time period. And I remember a slew of snow days. And as a kid, I remember a few basic but amazing memories. And one is, it snowed so much that I could literally climb to the railing of my porch and jump off of it into the snow, like totally safe. It was amazing. Yeah.
It was 1993.
93, there you go. And also we lived in front of the woods, and I mean, call it old school parenting, but my parents didn't care that I would just literally go wander in the woods, and I just thought it was so cool. It was like a winter wonderland, just a bunch of bare trees and full of snow. And I kind of had that was it Shigeru Miyamoto who wandered through Kyoto and got inspired for Zelda? Like, that's how I got inspired. Just, I don't know, for anything. I would just literally get lost during those snow days and just kill hours wandering around in the snow and following animal tracks and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Those are my good memories. How about you, Dan? What was little Dan doing in Massachusetts when we had that nor'easter?
Yeah, nor'easter 93 was a great one. So I lived in this neighborhood. It was like it was like a U-shaped street, right? It was like you had your one street and then the other street was a horseshoe on the side. And there were just so many kids in my neighborhood. But since it was like this U shape, they basically just had, and it was on a big hill too. So they had to like push the snow up into this like one pile. And it ended up like getting, I would say this pile was legitimately like 20 feet high. And it got so high that like it was up to one of my neighbors' houses, like by the second floor window. So as kids, we were just jumping off out of the second floor window onto the old school parenting where you just don't care about your kids. We were jumping out the second floor window into this like giant pile of disgusting salt, mud, snow, ice, and just like tumbling down into like just puffs of snow. It was fantastic. Maybe because I was a kid, but like I haven't seen that much snow in my life. It was nuts. Get creative too. Like you build, I don't know. I never built a snowman in my life, but we used to build like jumps for sleds and stuff.
Well, back in like pre-iPhone days, I mean, kids had a lot more time to be creative outdoors. So
that was funny too, because like we never had like snow days growing up, right? Massachusetts was always just so. If they say it's going to snow, you'll see like plows lined up for miles and miles and miles and miles on the highway, and they'll be out the first second one flake of snow drops. So the buses were running, everybody would go to school all the time, unlike this nor'easter. But if it was too cold, we wouldn't go to school, just in case the pipes burst.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because I don't know, like now that I have a kid and I'm starting to like pay attention to school closures, like it would be a fraction of what we had at that nor'easter and schools would shut down. Like I don't know what happened to Massachusetts. We got weak. We just got weak.
And they probably like text you when the school is canceled, right?
Yeah.
Or, like remember just watching the bottom line on the news, waiting to see if your school was canceled?
Yeah.
Like, oh man, that was
and if you miss an alphabet, you'd have to sit through the commercials and wait for it to start all over again.
Yeah, exactly. And like, of course, I never had school cancellation, so it was just a waste of time. Those few times it was like incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, our school is notorious for not having snow days. It was just every other school in the district or the county or whatever would be closed. Literally every single other one. Not us. Nope. Still got to go to school. I don't care how you get there. Oh my gosh. And then what the annoying thing that they started doing was like delayed start days where it would start like you would go in 2 hours late and then all of your classes would be crunched into like half hours instead of like 45 minutes or whatever. That was annoying because you're like, no, I want the whole day off. I don't want to go in 2 hours later. That's stupid. It sucked so bad.
Oh, it's like, was it worth it cramming all those classes together? Is it really worth it?
Yeah. Was it worth it? No. I still graduated.
What about you, LeRon?
Well, like I said earlier, I was an Army brat. So the very first time I remember dealing with snow as a kid was we were living in Germany, and we got to Germany in December. So like I want to say like not even a week after we got there, like it snowed. I mean it came down and like I hadn't even been enrolled in school yet. That's how new we were out there in Germany at the time. So my parents knew this. I hadn't seen snow before. So they woke me up. I was like, how old was I at the time? Let me see. I was 9 years old. They woke me up and I was like, hey, look out the window. I looked at the window. I saw snow. I just freaked the hell out and just like bolted through the door. Like didn't even put on like a proper coat or like any type of winter gear. I threw on some shoes, just ran straight out into the snow. And of course, my mom wasn't a fan of that, So of course she was yelling at me to get back in the house so I could get situated and stuff. My dad wound up going somewhere. and he came back with sleds and shovels and stuff like that. Man, I had a fucking blast. First time I'd ever seen snow like that, because before that, like I was growing up in Texas, and I do know that Texas does snow, but it never snowed in my life while I was in Texas at that time. So yeah, like that was one of the best snow days. And then funny thing, when we left Germany, my dad got stationed at Fort Bliss in El Paso. And my mom was like, oh, like great, we're gonna get out there and right in the middle of winter. Like, good thing is, like it's the desert. It doesn't snow out there. The first month we were out there, 14 inches hit the ground.
Oh,
Wow.
damn.
14 inches hit the ground.
Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Surprise!
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's funny because in my opinion, like those two snows from my childhood, like it has never snowed like that in Virginia, except maybe what we're about to get now, like what's coming soon, hopefully, because like I said, they're threatening for 8 to 9.5 inches.
Wow.
Yeah, for this area, which is crazy because the last snowstorm that went through, like Richmond got nailed with 7 inches. But we barely saw an inch. Like we saw a dusting, and then it started raining. So we wound up dealing with 2 days worth of black ice.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's
black
crazy.
ice sucks. Give me snow, not black ice. I got into a car accident, totaled my truck because of black ice. It's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, black ice.
Wow,
is,
really?
My beautiful Toyota Tacoma, right out as I pulled out of my driveway. So it's not like I was even going fast. It was awful.
Stop going fast. Jeez.
All right,
It's like that.
I'll decrease 30 miles an hour down to 15.
That'd be great. Slow down.
It's like that Key and Peele skit where we're talking about black ice. It was like everything was going fine until that black ice. I was at the ATM and that black ice came and robbed me of my balance.
Wow. Wow. I guess I don't know. Our snow days when we had them, we would always just like stay inside and like I don't know. I was probably playing games or something because I had no life or no friends. But when my cousins would stay over or whatever, we would go outside and like build giant forts out of the snow. And what we would do is we would build them at the bottom because my parents' house, their backyard is like a hill. And it goes down, so it was really kind of perfect for sled riding. And like we would build like these almost like bobsled tracks for our sleds in the backyard, and we would build a wall at the end and stupidly try to see if we could plow ourselves through them. or like at one point we hit the walls so hard that they just turned into ramps, and we would like launch ourselves up. So we got this bright idea. To like build this wall ramp in front of the trampoline that was back there, and like at the bottom of the hill, it like got real flat and went into the woods that like aren't. Wow, that's loud. Kids.
What was that?
My son.
Sounded like a
Oh,
goose.
Hold on. Is that my son or is that my daughter? Anyways.
this is parenting, guys. This is parenting.
Yeah. Well, if it's my daughter, I gotta go check on her, but my wife usually handles my son. So, we had this great idea to build this big snow ice ramp to try to launch ourselves up onto the trampoline. And
Wow.
well, and so when we were doing that, I was going down the hill really fast, and I thought I should have hit the wall by then. So like I had my head down, like going really fast. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I look up and like the snow hadn't like frozen into the wall ramp thing yet. So like I went through the snow and hit my head on the pole of the trampoline.
Oh no.
Oh,
Ooh.
And like, it was the worst. It hurt so bad. I was going so fast, and I don't know how I didn't get knocked out, but I just hit my my square on my forehead, the round part of the trampoline.
Oof.
Of course, my cousins just kept playing outside because they didn't care.
Yeah.
I went inside because, well, thought I was dying.
Oh.
I think I was like 9 or 10. I don't know.
Oh, that was back literally age where everything could get walked off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
My mom still says that. My mom still says, like, if I'm sick or like coughing or if I'm tired or something, she said, just go outside and get some fresh air. You'll be fine. Still says that. Even when my appendix ruptured, she tried to tell me to go outside. I would be fine. And then,
Oh, wow.
and then I passed out at my friend's house, and my friend's mom took me to the hospital, not my own mom.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Turns out my appendix ruptured, and I was dying. It's okay though.
Whew.
Goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no walking that off.
Nope. It was funny though. I'm gonna mute
All
now
right.
because my son is crying.
All right, guys. Well, we did it. That's another show.
That was
and
a great topic, LeRon. It's a
Oh.
nice walk down memory lane. Thank you.
Yeah, for real. And I just realized we did all this talking. I never did the housekeeping.
It's okay. We don't need it.
That's okay though. That's okay. Because I say like we have fun here, you know. And I really do it. This is probably like the best way to end like a Wednesday night for us. Like it's a long week of podcasting.
Yeah.
I know. God, I think this is my 6th show in 4 days. So I'm
Wow.
tired.
You're just a glutton for punishment.
I know.
Yeah, you guys are nuts.
I still have Tower Casuals tomorrow too. So.
Yeah, unless I volunteer for something, this is the last podcast for me for the week. What about you, Stephanie?
I think that's it for the week for me too, which is great. So.
And Dan over there, who's measly 1 podcast a week.
Absolutely. And I get burnt out from that. So
Dan's
All right,
Dan's like 56 minutes of work. Whew, I'm done. I'm out.
56 minutes. Did you forget how to podcast with Ed?
Me? Yes, I did.
Yes, he did.
If you think 56 minutes with Ed is an amount of time that happens, then you're nuts.
You probably only got through Snack Tendo or Baby Game Fact Advance at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just kidding. I love you, Ed. I miss talking to you sometimes.
All right, everyone. This has been Boss Rush After Dark, the alternative podcast of the flagship show for Boss Rush Network. We'd like to thank you all for tuning in and listening to the show tonight. Thanks, Dan, for joining us. You're no longer a virgin to After Dark. How does it feel?
Feels good. You know, I feel like I needed to lose my virginity, so here we are.
Special moment.
You lasted a long time, Dan. Good job.
I did. I really held out.
You didn't truly lose your virginity because, like, you haven't been on one of our wild shows yet.
This was just the tip.
All right. Before we head out, Dan, tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at DCDM99, and you can see all of our wonderful articles on www.bossrush.net, where I am a copy editor and a writer.
Cool. Stephanie.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Klimov, KLIMOV_author. And you can also find me on said website with Dan.
Woohoo!
All right, Corey.
You can find me at I am Corey HD on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me hosting the Boss Rush podcast, Arsenal X the Xbox podcast, and a plethora of other content on the Boss Rush Network. I also write some things sometimes on bossrush.net.
Yeah, some days he'll just bang out 12 news articles and then whatever.
That's not true.
No.
It's like
I know. Like, where does he find the time?
I make time, LeRon. What do you do?
Jeez, I struggle. I struggle to get 3 a week.
I go through phases where it's like so difficult to write an article. Like an article will take me 3 hours to write, and then when I'm done, it's like 2 paragraphs long. Or I'll just bang out a whole review in like 45 minutes, and it's the best thing I've ever written.
Yeah. I know that feeling. You can always catch me on social media at XS803, as well as my Twitch and YouTube channels, twitch.tv/XS803 and youtube.com/XS803. And XS803 is my gamer tag for PlayStation Network and Xbox Live. So you always have ways to find me there. I don't forget Tuesday nights, Crossroads PlayStation Podcast Show on my Twitch channel, as well as every Wednesday with this wonderful crew here for the Boss Rush Podcast. And of course, Boss Rush After Dark, which, by the way, thank you for being a patron, because you are listening to our show early before anybody else gets a chance, because you are a patron. So we love you for that, and we would love for you to tell more people about us and have them subscribe to our Patreon. So thank you for that. Come back and join us for our next installment of Boss Rush After Dark, where we'll be back with more topics that aren't completely content appropriate for our other anchor shows. We love you all. Have a good night, and we'll see you next time.
Woo-woo.
Woohoo!
Goodbye.